Alright, welcome to a tutorial by me, Ginger Travis. It's kind of the first time I've tried to do something like this, a tutorial. The goal of this one is going to be to try to teach you the major boosts in GTA and how to do them effectively during a racing situation, and kind of like when to use them, when you might think about holding off from using it. The first thing we're going to start is the most basic boost. If you've done any public stunt racing, Rockstar stunt races, you've probably seen people swerving all over the curbs like this. What that one's called by most of the community is curb boosting. You'll hear it referred to also as curb surfing. It can be done either more effectively by going all the way over the curbs, then back over, like this. But also, you can do it like this if, say, the track piece has a wall here blocking off the other side of the curbs. Basically, how it works is any type of elevation change that the car gets, going from like flat to an angle to bump, anything that makes the suspension compress at all. The way GTA's game mechanics work is it gives it an acceleration boost. So anything you do that makes the suspension compress gives you an acceleration boost. So to give you an example, I kind of just placed two props in the most generic, poorly done fashion possible just to kind of get an example place to do this at. But I'm going to go straight down these starting grid props to that blue gantry over there. I'm going to start full throttle, handbrake, and just let off just to get a consistent start. That way you can kind of see the speed difference. If you look at the miles per hour gauge in the bottom right, you can see the top speed we get to by the end of this. So you get about 110 miles an hour. Not now, Doctor. I'm making YouTube videos. Dr. Hakimoff hosts a lot of playlist stuff, by the way. Fast Crew guys, too. They do street racing, stunt racing, pretty much everything. So if you're looking for a good variety, fun crew to play with, check those guys out. So you see, you kind of reach top speed of about 110 miles per hour there. That was just doing nothing, just going straight down. So this time we'll do it going all the way over the curbs, back and forth, kind of curb boosting, going completely over, and see what top speed we end up with. I'm not going to do it quite as fast as you could, just kind of doing it chill. So you can see, ended up almost 20 miles per hour faster, going back and forth over the curbs. You can see quick, like, that can add up really quickly in a stunt racing situation. Next we're going to do, since we go back over here, I'm going to do just kind of curb surfing, which is more or less just not going completely over the curbs. We're going to pretend like there's a wall there or some other prop blocking that off where we can't access going over those curves completely. So we'll do that and see what speed we end up with. You can see it's not quite as effective. Got you about a 10 mile per hour gain. So it still has an effect, even if it's not quite as effective as going all the way over the curves. It can still gain you quite a bit, especially if you're doing more hot lapping environment and you factor that in for the course of the race. It can be pretty advantageous to do. That pretty much sums up everything with curb boosting. If there's anything I missed, we'll talk about combining that with other techniques possibly once we get to other boost types in a little bit, and we'll go back and revisit this section to see if we can combine it with other things and other techniques. But alright. Next up, I'm going to talk about mid-drive speed boosting. It's probably one of the easiest boost techniques besides curb boosting. That actually requires the player to do a different input to achieve. Basically what mid-drive speed boosting does is it tricks the car into doing a burnout mechanic between, I believe, first and second gear. It might be second or third, to be honest, I always forget, but I know it's in low speeds. So give you a quick example, hopefully I can get it right first try and this isn't super embarrassing. So yeah, second and third gear I do believe. So you see when the wheels start to spin like that, it kind of tricks the car into losing grip for a split second by typing that handbrake, and it tricks the game into doing a burnout mechanic, which we'll combine that with other boosting techniques later on, so you can kind of see how that works in different scenarios. To show you the difference, I'm just going to do hold the handbrake, then release the throttle 100% just to kind of get a baseline speed between these two gantries, so you can kind of see the speed difference and how much it can gain you. Alright, Dr. Hackamoff really wants me to come stunt racing. Alright, so about 95 miles per hour going this way. We'll try it again starting at this one. Same thing, just holding E-brake, releasing the throttle. 100%. That way the launch is the same and I don't have to worry about that being a factor. So, same result, mid-90s. This time, let's go back and forth. This time doing mid-drives. So, 105. So, 10 miles per hour difference, which, especially if you're doing car meets and doing drag races over short distances, anything like that, can really put a huge difference in how you do. That was a complete fail. So it's not guaranteed that you'll get the boost. As you can see, I've been trying it, and Banshee is one of the easiest cars to do it in, and I still mess it up. So you really want to try to do it pretty close to where the gears are at those high RPMs, and it sounds like it's about to shift anyways. Seems to be the most advantageous way to do it. But yeah, pretty effective way to get a basic boost. Not very helpful in most stunt racing situations or anything, but if you're more into like serious racing, like clean racing crews, stuff like that, then random cars and track combos, especially grapeseed tracks, they tend to have a lot of hairpins and stuff in situations where that's appropriate. A lot of muscle cars do it. Cars like the Dominator is a lot harder to do it in for some reason. And other cars, you can do it too that are all-wheel drive, not just rear-wheel drive. It's kind of hit or miss which ones let you do it, but what you do is, instead of just tapping the handbrake, you'll tap the handbrake and regular brake at the same time and then go back on the throttle. So in case you missed it or in case it kind of went a little bit too fast, the way you want to do it, let off. Once you get close to this high RPMs, I'm not going to actually do it, just kind of show you in slow motion. Throttle, let off for a split second, handbrake, let for a split second, let off, and then back to throttle. So it's like, then really fast. I'm not actually trying to do it, just trying to show you on the controller overlay at the bottom of the screen, kind of what I'm doing. Some cars, they require a little bit extra to get the wheels to start sliding and then get the game to do that burnout mechanic. One thing that can help is, instead of just going from accelerator, off, handbrake, off, accelerator, you can go accelerator, off, handbrake, accelerator at the same time for a split second, and then off handbrake. And that kind of gets the tires a little bit looser. So you can kind of see, I held it a little bit longer than ideal, but just to kind of show you that holding both at the same time can help loosen up the tires enough and really get them going, get them spinning. But that should sum up everything with mid-drive speed boost. If I missed anything or anything that helps, anybody has any tips, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Next up, I'm actually going to talk about brake boosting and how to do it. I kind of was going to skip from curb boosting straight into that, but figured mid-driving is probably better to show you before, give you an introduction into what that burnout mechanic's doing and where a lot of these boosts come from and kind of why they work in general. But yeah, we'll go over brake boosting. One of the easiest spots to do it, and where I recommend practicing, is on this straight over here, over in the, I think, Marietta Heights area, Cypress Flats, yeah. So you can see it kind of on the map here. It's got a lot of potholes, good to practice. You can clearly tell when it's working, when it's not. What I mean by pothole boost is these potholes right here. You'll see them pretty frequently around the map. It's kind of like a little dip. You can kind of see the car. And what it does is when your tires go over it, in all-wheel drive cars, I think it's front and rear tires that's affected too. But when your suspension drops but your car doesn't quite get air, it thinks you've lost enough traction that when you do that and hit the brakes at the same time, it tricks the game into doing burnout mechanics similar to mid-drive speed boost, just different methods of initiating that mechanic. And by the time you are past the pothole, the game hasn't caught up yet and you're still doing that burnout mechanic. So instead of it being in place and it's just not really propelling you forward, it propels you forward way faster than if you just accelerated normally. Try to do one slow, see if I can give you a good example real quick. So a lot of times you'll see when I hit it, the wheels spin and you'll get that burnout mark. That's how you know for sure you got it, but sometimes it's effective even when that mark doesn't appear. As far as the timing, what generally works the best for me is if I start on the brakes before my front wheels go over the boost spot, and then if I release the brakes after my rear wheels have left the spot. So kind of while any part of the car is over the boost itself, I'm holding the brakes, and you hold the brakes and accelerator at the same time. You don't want to let off the accelerator really, you want to keep holding the accelerator. So you'll keep on the accelerator, and then front wheels go over it. Not the best examples. It's also one of those things that's more effective in higher gears than in lower gears, and it's more effective also at lower RPMs than higher RPMs. So if you're already in a higher RPM, like, you don't want to hit the brake boost because it'll just keep your car at that burnout in the higher RPMs. But if you're in lower RPMs and you hit that brake boost, you'll get to the higher RPMs way faster, and then you can really cycle through gears a lot faster too that way. And kind of ties us into the next thing we'll talk about, which will be short shifting. But before you get there, I'm going to kind of go back and forth in this straight a few times. First, I'm going to do it without brake boosting. You'll see in my testing, top speed I reach is generally about 135 to 140 in that range by the time we go from gantry to gantry. So here you can see, yeah, about 140. 138-ish. And I'll do the same thing going this way. It's not exact due to hitting bumps differently in the road and going a little bit downhill and uphill, but just to kind of get a ballpark estimate. So yeah, about the same, upper 130s. Seems to be what I usually get testing. Occasionally I'll get a little bit more if I hit a bump just right or something like that. But this time we'll do the same thing, but we'll try brake boosting once I reach those higher gears. So 150, I kind of missed a lot there and didn't really hit them well, but even missing quite a few and just getting a few that mattered, I got an okay-ish boost, not great. I struggle to do the boost on this road going this way, but I'm going to try it anyways just so you can kind of see. So we're already at 140 on this part. So same thing, ended up about 150, which isn't great. You can do way better. In previous recordings that I kind of fumbled through and had to redo, I got way better. But we'll go back one more time just to show you. I'm gonna kind of keep this part in though, just to kind of show you that it's not easy or guaranteed. And even after tons of experience with it, you can still miss it. So that one was a little bit better, 170, so that's a 30 mile per hour-ish boost. And speed by the top end, just brake boosting. Do a few more going back this way. So 160, and that was just kind of goofing around, not trying too hard, but just hitting a few boosts when I felt comfortable with it, and kind of waiting until the gears are at the lower RPMs and the higher range to hit boosts instead of trying to hit everyone and hitting them when I'm in the higher gears also. I just wait and kind of, if I'm at lower RPMs, I'll go for the boost. If I'm at the higher RPMs, I'll kind of just wait a little bit and try to catch the next one. Alright, next up I'm going to talk about short shifting, and then combining short shifting with brake boosting to get the most out of both of them. What short shifting kind of does is when the car is at higher RPMs and about to change into the next gear, what you want to do is you want to let off the throttle just about 5 to 10%. You can see on the controller overlay. And what that kind of does is it just forces the car into the next gear a little bit quicker. Earlier we talked about how if you're at lower RPMs, it's kind of more effective when you hit the boost and you can get more out of it. So short shifting is just kind of a way to keep your car more in those lower RPMs, and that way you're not hitting boost in super high RPMs, which can be very ineffective. So before we got about high 130s, almost 140, back and forth between these gantries. This time we're gonna do it just short shifting, and it's not guaranteed to give you speed. What it does is increases the odds of you getting that good curb boost or bump on the road or whatever and getting more speed out of it. It's more effective the more bumps there are on the road too. Flatter surfaces, especially like stunt track pieces, won't have too much of an effect. So there we got almost mid 140. You saw it kind of jumping around a bit more, the speedometer, trying to get those bump boosts a little more there, those RNG boosts. But stunt races, it's not super effective on its own on the regular stunt track, but once you factor in curb boost and the bumps and the stunt tubes themselves, then it can have an effect too, even in stunt racing. So, got to the top gear a lot higher, but there we go. Got some RNG boost there, where it gave you a good bit of speed, hit the right bumps. So you can kind of see there that got a little bit of a speed boost, getting mid 140s, a little 140 over that range instead of the high 130s. Next I'm going to kind of do, just to show you what I mean by getting into top gear a little bit sooner, is I'm going to just go, we're going to look at this wall right here on the left, and we're going to kind of see where my car enters top gear without short shifting, and then we'll compare that to with short shifting and show you what I mean. So no short shifting. So about in between where the wall stops and then starts again. And that's been pretty consistent, my testing and what I did before I made this video to kind of see if I could even do that consistent. That's about where it enters in top gear, in that little gap right there. So it's a good place to kind of mark so you can kind of see. And this time with short shifting, we'll keep an eye out to where we enter that top gear. So already in top gear way earlier. So you can kind of see why it's working. Keeps you in those low RPMs, then gets you into top gear way quicker than you would normally. Now we'll talk about combining brake boost and short shifting, so you can maximize both of those effectively. What you kind of want to do is right before you get to the pothole and you get to that brake boost, you want to try to short shift and be in super low RPMs. And that way you can cycle through the gears even faster and get to top speed faster and accelerate way faster at the same time. This is when it gets really tricky. This is when you're comfortable with both things, short shifting and brake boosting already. That's when you should probably start messing with this. But let's try it, see if I can get it first try. Odds are probably not, and I'll put all of the outtakes of me failing at the end of the video so you can watch me suffer while I try to get this and get good speed doing it. So, high 160, didn't get the best there. We did get through the gears pretty quick. I think I tried to short shift one too many times. Not as good going back this way, but I'm gonna try it anyway, just kind of show you. Alright, we're gonna pretend like I was just trying to drive back normally this way, just to get back here and start over, and that I definitely did not try to short shift brake boost combo. So yeah, and mainly get you up to top gear a lot faster, and get you more potential to get into those faster brake boosts a lot earlier. It's like if there's less of these potholes at the end, you could get one in top gear versus being in a gear lower and really maximize it that way. But that pretty much sums up boosting in GTA. If I missed anything, or if anybody knows anything about short shifting, brake boosting, curb boosting, or mid driving that I missed or am unaware of, that's why drunk driving's bad also. It doesn't matter if you're on the clock or not. I know it's fun getting paid to drink, but really can, yeah, see, it's never a good idea. Alright. But yeah, anyways, hope to see you guys on the racetrack. I hope this video helps. Just something I made as a good resource to point to. People ask a lot while streaming, and etc. And I didn't really have any good place. Videos are kind of all over and all around on the subject. Other videos I've mentioned was short shifting. Even if you're already in top gear, you can get a boost by kind of doing the short shifting motion, letting off the 5 to 10%. I've got to confirm that, but I haven't really tested it either. So, might be something to it, I don't know. Something you can kind of test on your own, see if it works. Another thing I've heard about, but I'm bad at and haven't had very much luck, is when you go over jumps. It could help stunt racers a lot. If you let off the throttle a little bit, instead of the vehicle kind of stalling in air like it usually does. Supposedly that keeps the engine revved up and running, so when you land, you carry a little bit more speed. You don't have like as much speed loss from trying to get the wheels back up to speed again. So that might be something worth considering to help if anybody's verified that or has any more knowledge about how to do it. Feel free to share that too. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys out on the tracks. Alright, try to provide other examples of things you can boost. These little potholes right here, these little manhole covers, you can get a decent boost on them. And it's not just at this location either. These things are located on highways all around. So any of these where it kind of dips down like this, you can also boost. And another spot that's popular with a lot of boost is this part here on that hump you usually can. These humps, then on these round manhole covers right here. It's kind of hit or miss. If for me, it's mainly miss. But it's something also to keep an eye out for that you can get plenty of brake boost on. Certain cars is going to be easier too, like the Sentinel Classic is popular in races because it can brake boost on like literally anything. So it's really powerful to get those short shifts brake boost here. So you can brake boost pretty much all over the map anytime there's elevation change, whether it's just going down, if it goes back down, goes back up real quick. All over the place. Even if it just goes straight down like that, you can get a brake boost. So just keep an eye out, and can't hurt to try, especially if you're hot lapping. Actually, it can hurt to try if you're just in a casual race and you end up missing way more than you gain. So it's fun to practice, but I recommend practicing on your own, not in a racing situation, unless you're really confident that you're gonna get that boost. But yeah. Okay, let's try short shifting and brake boosting. About 170 also. Not too bad of a result. Let's see if we can do better. Alright, gonna try short shifting and brake boosting. Keyword being try. Heck. Oh my god, this is gonna take me forever. Alright, let's see how much speed with curb boosting we end up with at the end of this straight. Pretty fast. Okay, I'm gonna have to rethink how I do this part, but pretty fast.